being all that you can be, and not let habits drag you down, not let things, sidetrack you from the full development of what you have the capable of being. What all could your heart encompass if you really had the chance and you really had the disciplines and really got to it? What could you really become? What could you earn? How healthy could you really be? How many books could you write? How many poems could you write? So here's what I would ask of you. If you feel that you're a little bit stalled, wherever you are in your progress, I'm asking you to correct that. I'm asking you to see if you can't possibly be on a more accelerated track toward your possibilities and your full development. The key to development is to be all that you can possibly be. I don't know what your talents are. I don't know what your skills are, but here's what I probably am right on, that you're behind on an accelerated effort toward your full development. Here's what life is all about: to become all that we can possibly be. The full development of all of your potential, that's number one. Number two is the wise use of all of your resources. That's what life is all about, full development.
Your success in life depends more on the person you become than on the things you do or acquire. As Aristotle wrote, the ultimate end of life is the development of character. Plato wrote, "The first and best victory is to conquer self." Why do some people accomplish so much more in their personal and professional lives than others? This question has occupied some of the very best minds throughout human history. More than 2,300 years ago, Aristotle wrote that the ultimate aim of human life is to be happy. He said that the great question that each of us must answer is, how shall we live in order to be happy? Your ability to ask and answer that question correctly for yourself, and then to follow where your answer leads you, will largely determine whether you achieve your own happiness and how soon. Begin with your own personal definition. How do you define success? If you could wave a magic wand and make your life perfect in every way, what would it look like? Describe your ideal life. If your business, work, and career were ideal in every way, what would they look like? What would you be doing? What sort of a company would you work for? What position would you have? How much money would you earn? What kind of people would you work with? And especially, what would you need to do more or less of to create your perfect career? If your family life were perfect in every way, what would it look like? Where would you live? And how would you be living? What kind of a lifestyle would you have? What sort of things would you want to have and do with the members of your family? If you had no limitations, and you could wave a magic wand, in what ways would you change your family life today? If your health were perfect, how would you describe it? How would you feel? How much would you weigh? How would your levels of health and fitness be different from what they are today? Most of all, what steps could you take immediately to begin moving toward your ideal levels of health and energy? If your financial situation were ideal, how much would you have in the bank? How much would you be earning each month and each year from your investments? If you had enough money so that you never had to worry about finances again, how much would that be? And what steps could you take starting today to create your ideal financial life? Do your own thing. A popular definition of success is being able to live your life in your own way, doing only those things that you want to do, with the people who you choose in the situations you desire.
Beginning is a fantastic source of inspiration. Planning is an incredible source of inspiration. Deciding is an unbelievable source of inspiration. But now beginning only lasts so long. If you begin that first week and then you don't continue, yes, you'll be inspired by deciding and planning and beginning. But all of that now will start to fade away if you don't do number 4. One of the great sources of inspiration is progressing. Once you've gotten started, now you proceed, you progress. Now you go to class the second week, you go to class the third week. But it's not only progressing in terms of time, it's progressing in terms of what you're learning, progressing in terms of getting the information that you hadn't discovered before. Now you're excited about that. Progress. One of the greatest sources of inspiration is progress. When you start jogging around the block, and at first it's a little difficult, and then it's 2 blocks, and then you go around 4 or 5 times, but then you notice you're breathing easier. You notice when you go up a flight of stairs, you're not out of breath, and it suddenly occurs to you in a fairly short period of time, you're making progress. Then when you start making progress in your business, your ability to make contacts, your ability to talk to people. Being so shy, you decided one day, hey, I've had enough with being too shy. I've made the decision. I'm making some plans. I'm going to begin talking to people. And you start, and at first it's difficult. But then very quickly, and it doesn't take a year, I'm telling you, it doesn't take a month, it doesn't take a week. I promise you, even though you're a little bit shy, if you'll just start to introduce yourself, if you'll just start to talk to someone you've never talked to before, just get started. I promise you, in a fairly short period of time, because 2 things are happening. One is deciding to overcome a liability, but also understanding that with this new skill now, with this new ability, and with my progress, no telling what I can accomplish. Because if I can get over the fear of talking to one, I can get over the fear of talking to number 10, number 50, number 100. And by the time I get to number 50 and number 100, my self-confidence is going to be so strong, my self-esteem is going to be so high, my new skill is going to show such incredible progress that I will never look back on the old ways.
Hard work is the key. The indispensable requirement for hard work is self-discipline. Success is only possible when you can overcome the natural tendency to cut corners and take the easy way. Lasting success is only possible when you can discipline yourself to work hard for a long, long time. As I mentioned in the introduction, I started my own life with no money or advantages. For years, I worked at laboring jobs, at which I earned just enough to get from paycheck to paycheck. I stumbled into sales when I could no longer find a laboring job, where I spun my wheels for many months before I began asking that question: why is it that some people are more successful in selling than others? One day, a top salesman told me that the top 20% of salespeople earn 80% of the money. I had never heard that rule before. This meant that the bottom 80% of salespeople had to be satisfied with the remaining 20%, with what was left over after the top people had taken the lion's share. I decided then and there that I was going to be in the top 20%, and this decision changed my life.